The city at night was a breathtaking display of shimmering lights that seemed to go on forever. I stood atop a skyscraper's rooftop, entranced by the energy that permeated the night air. Among the revelers who'd gathered there, I was the one who seemed to radiate the spirit of the night. My name is Sarah, and I live for adventure. My eyes, like distant stars, sparkled with an insatiable appetite for life's thrills, and my fiery red dress, chosen carefully for the occasion, embodied the fiery essence of the night. I swayed to the music's rhythmic beats, my body a dance of its own, perfectly synchronized with the urban symphony. The deeper the night fell, the more the lyrics of the song playing in the background seemed to resonate with me, echoing the exhilaration that surged through my veins. As I moved to the music, my gaze was drawn to a figure standing on the rooftop's edge. Mysterious and enigmatic, he was a dark silhouette against the city's luminous backdrop. His presence was magnetic, impossible to ignore, and as our eyes met, an electric connection sparked between us. It was as if fate had chosen this moment for our paths to collide. The attraction was undeniable. We found ourselves irresistibly drawn to each other, like two celestial bodies caught in a gravitational pull. The vibrant pulse of the rooftop party, filled with conversations, laughter, and music, seemed to fade into the background as we moved closer, ensnared by an invisible force that defied explanation. "Beautiful view, don't you think?" he said softly, his words a gentle interruption to the night's serenade. His eyes had a depth that seemed to contain the city's hidden stories, pulling me in. I nodded, unable to tear my gaze away. "It's breathtaking, and the city's energy is intoxicating." He offered a wry, enigmatic smile, a playful curve of his lips. "Just like you," he quipped, his voice carrying a blend of charm and mystery. With that smile lingering on his face, he added, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name." I smiled, my heart skipping a beat. "I'm Sarah," I replied, feeling a shiver of anticipation as the conversation became more personal. "And what should I call you?" His name rolled off his tongue like a whisper. "I'm Oliver. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sarah." As we continued to talk, the city's sprawling panorama below became the backdrop for our small talk. Oliver, with an air of curiosity, asked, "So, Sarah, where are you from?" I smiled, grateful for the personal touch to the conversation. "I'm originally from a small town in the Midwest, but I've been in the city for a few years now. It's a bit of a whirlwind compared to where I grew up." Oliver raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A small town in the Midwest, you say? That's quite a contrast to the city's hustle and bustle. What brought you here?" I shrugged playfully. I guess I was drawn to the energy, the opportunities, and the unpredictability of it all. It's a place where you can truly get lost and find yourself at the same time. The conversation flowed easily, weaving our stories and experiences together. The rooftop party seemed to buzz with even more excitement as the night deepened, but the magnetic connection between Oliver and me remained the focal point of our evening. In that moment, under the moon's watchful eye, I realized that this was no ordinary encounter. It was a connection that defied logic, a love story written by the night itself. Our fates had intertwined, and there was no turning back. The city below seemed to acknowledge the significance of our meeting, its lights shimmering in celebration. And so, as the night unfolded, Oliver and I stood on the precipice of a new chapter, eager to see where this connection would lead. The city whispered its secrets, and the night held its breath, knowing that something extraordinary had just begun. I was excited about Oliver and looked forward to getting to know him. I just wasn't expecting the whirlwind love story that transpired and left me breathless. In the days that followed, our love grew stronger, nurtured by clandestine rendezvous and stolen moments. Ours was a love that flourished beneath the city's watchful gaze, passionate and forbidden. Friends cautioned us about the risks, and societal norms weighed heavy on our shoulders, but Oliver and I remained undeterred. Our love was a delicate dance between secrecy and desire, and with each stolen moment, the flame of our passion burned brighter. We found solace in the hidden corners and secluded parks of the city, where each stolen kiss and whispered confession deepened our connection. The world may have judged us, but within our secret world, our love was free to bloom. One evening, as the city's lights shimmered in the distance, we found ourselves at a dimly lit cafe tucked away in a quiet corner. The place exuded an air of intimacy, much like our own love. Over cups of steaming coffee, we engaged in conversation that ranged from the profound to the mundane. Oliver gazed at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of desire and contemplation. "Sarah," he began, his voice soft, "I can't help but think about how our love is like a fever dream. It's intense, surreal, and it consumes us entirely." I smiled, our connection undeniably intense. "You're right, Oliver. Our love is unlike anything I've ever known. It's as if we're caught in the middle of a storm, but it's a storm we're not willing to escape from. At least one I'm not willing to escape from." Our conversation flowed effortlessly, and as the night deepened, I couldn't help but be curious about Oliver's past. I leaned in closer, my eyes filled with a gentle inquisitiveness. "Oliver," I asked, "tell me about your childhood. What was it like growing up?" Oliver's gaze turned introspective, as if he were reliving memories of his past. "I grew up in this very city," he began. "It was a place of endless possibilities and constant movement. The city's heartbeat became a part of me, and I felt like I was in the center of the universe." He continued, "But it was also a place where the pace of life could be overwhelming. The demands, the expectations, the never-ending rush. It could feel like a storm at times. I often found solace in the quiet corners of the city, away from the chaos." I listened with empathy, understanding that his upbringing had shaped him in profound ways. "It sounds like you were a dreamer even amidst the city's hustle and bustle," I remarked. Oliver nodded, a wistful smile playing on his lips. "Absolutely," he said. "I've always felt there was more to life than just the towering skyscrapers, urging me to explore and discover myself. I ventured outside the city for a while, seeking something that resonated with my true self. But I'm glad I came back because it brought me to you." I smiled in response to his words, and with a soft, curious tone I inquired, "And what about your parents? Can you tell me about them?" A bittersweet smile touched his lips, and he briefly averted his gaze before responding in a wistful, somewhat sardonic tone. "My parents," he began, "they were perpetually engrossed in their own world, wealthy, residing in a grand mansion on the city's outskirts, but perpetually distant." He paused, then fixed his gaze on me before continuing. "At times it feels as if I was brought up by the city itself, left to traverse its intricate streets all on my own." I listened with empathy, realizing that his upbringing had been marked by the absence of parental warmth. "It must have been a lonely childhood," I remarked. Oliver nodded, a mixture of sadness and acceptance in his eyes. Our conversation delved into the depths of our pasts, sharing stories and memories that revealed the layers of our identities. The cafe's patrons may not have known the depth of our love, but as we sat there, hand in hand, our connection was stronger than ever. The city's night was our witness, and our love was a testament to the fierce, all-encompassing force that could not be denied. The city's lights beyond the window appeared to eavesdrop on our intimate confessions, as though they comprehended the profoundness of our love. And as the night enveloped us, Oliver's hand sought mine across the table. "Sarah," he murmured, his voice a tender caress, "I think I love you." My heart swelled, and I squeezed his hand in response, the unspoken emotions hanging in the air between us. A soft smile graced my lips as I whispered, "I think I love you too." I felt an immeasurable happiness, convinced that this feeling would last indefinitely. Little did I know that my world was on the verge of collapsing. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Also, please don't forget to click on the notification bell to get new video updates.